We're Today is May 30th, and we're here with Ruth Covey, and she's going to tell us a little bit about her time on Guemes and a little bit about where she was born and stuff. So, Ruth, where were you born,
I was born in Blackwell, Wisconsin.
and how long were you there?
I was there just a few months.
And from there, where did you move to?
I moved to Townsend.
Is that in Wisconsin as well?
Yes, it's also in Wisconsin.
Okay. And then, did you graduate back there then? Graduate from school
I
back?
graduated from Albino High School.
Uh-huh.
They sent us off to a smaller high school because we didn't have a high school in our hometown.
Oh. And what year were you born?
I was born in 32.
1932. And your birthday is what month?
My birthday is October.
October. Okay. So it won't be long when you'll be having another birthday
I'll
then.
be having another birthday. I'll be 86.
Oh. And where did you meet Gordon at?
I met him when I went to school over in Merrill.
In Wisconsin? Was he a Wisconsin boy too?
Yes, he was a Wisconsin boy.
Oh. And did you go to college then? Is that?
I was going to college.
And Gordon was going to college as well?
No, he wasn't. He was working in the store, Crambles food store. It later became Kroger's.
Oh. Very good. And then what year did you get married?
We got married in 2 years later.
And what would that been? 47, 49?
Let's see, we were married 62 years.
Wow. That's a long time, huh?
Yes, it was a long time.
And how old was Gordon when he went in the military? Do you remember?
He went right from high school into the military.
Uh-huh.
So that's the only life he ever knew.
Yes. And where were you first stationed? Do you remember that?
San Antonio.
Okay. Did you spend a long time there?
No, we didn't spend a long time there. He was sent to B-47s because they didn't figure the older pilots could keep up with the airplane, with refueling the airplane.
Oh, I see. And so, were you stationed all over the country then?
Just Lake Charles, Louisiana. Tina and Diane were born there.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't go very far. We went to Kansas from there, and then Spokane.
Okay.
And they told us thought we had squatters' rights in Spokane.
Did you like it over at Spokane?
We liked it because it was near my relatives.
Oh, and what part of the family was that then?
That was my mother's side of the family.
Uh-huh. Are they still there?
Yes, they are still there.
And what's your maiden name then?
My maiden name is Bennett.
Bennett. Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. And then how did you find Guemes Island?
I don't know. Gordon just decided he wanted to live on Guemes.
Did you have friends here?
No, well, Jane and her husband were here, and we followed them here probably.
Oh, because I think they were from Kansas at one time too, weren't they? Or
Yes, but we didn't know her in Kansas. I met her sister afterward. Her sister was from Kansas.
Yeah. And what year did you come to the island then?
We came to the island, how many years ago? I can't remember.
Was it the 19th?
40 years
40 years ago,
ago.
roughly.
In March of 72.
March of 72, okay. And then did you buy this property here at that time?
Yes.
Or did you live someplace else?
We bought this property here then.
Do you remember what you paid for it?
$12,500. That's where we're going to get hit.
Yes, for sure, yeah. And then you also had beach property for a while, didn't you?
Yes, we did.
Did you like it down on the beach, or was it too cold?
I liked it at the beach, but we had people peeking in our windows, and I didn't care for that. I felt like we lost all our privacy.
Kind of like you were in a fishbowl, huh?
Yes.
Yes. So how long were you down at the beach property? Do you remember?
A couple of years.
Yeah. And then what did Gordon raise on the property here? Did he have some cattle at one time?
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
We had a binder and we made hay bales, and I told the kids, I said, just sit down and let him go. When he tightened the bales too tight.
Yes. But he was happy doing that, wasn't he?
Oh yes, he enjoyed farming.
Yeah. And Marv is still trying to farm. Did you know that? Yeah. You'll probably be out here this year
Yeah,
again, so.
that's okay if they like it.
Yeah.
I'd let them. Tina probably knows more about this stuff than I do. She went to high school.
Yes.
And so she probably knows more about the year that we came here.
And you have 4 daughters, right? You have
I have 4 daughters, yes.
Tina and Amy. Diane and Amy.
And Amy and Tina and Tammy.
Tammy, okay. Yeah.
You
And
know Tammy, I think.
yes, I've met them all at one time or the other, but haven't spent a lot of time with them, so. So, do you have a lot of friends down where you're living now?
Now I do.
You do.
Yes.
Do you-
I'm getting more friends.
Do you play cards or anything now, or what do you do socially?
No.
Just talk?
We get together and talk,
Yeah.
probably.
Now, do you still have relatives back in Wisconsin, or are they all passed?
Oh, yes, we have relatives in Wisconsin. My brother-in-law just made a hole-in-one
Oh my
not
gosh.
too long ago. He was 93.
Was that his first one?
Yeah, that was his first one.
He waited a long time for that, didn't
Yeah,
he?
Gordon had 5.
Did he really?
Yes,
Did you golf too?
yes, I did.
Yeah.
Not very well, but I golfed.
Yeah. So, do you have any questions, Carol?
I was trying to think. Didn't Gordon, if someone went by too fast, didn't he chase them down to the ferry dock?
Yes, he did. Adam Beal was one of them.
Adam Veal?
Yeah, and Adam has turned out to be the best father.
He
Yeah.
is, isn't he? He would
Yes.
probably chase people now.
When did he give up? He gave up chasing after a while, didn't he?
Yes,
Too many of them, right?
I'm sure that was part of it.
I'm surprised he didn't get Dad.
Oh, he never complained about your dad.
Yeah, and you used to play games a lot with people. Card games on the island with Mom and Dad?
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
With the Weston Havers and Raleigh Jones and his wife. We played a lot of games.
What was your favorite game?
Tripoli.
Tripoli.
We
Okay.
played it for pennies.
Who was the best player?
I think I was. I'd like to think I was anyway.
Yeah.
So who were some of your other friends on the island? Did you get together with Jane and Bill, right?
Jane and Bill and some of their boys. The Tina babysat the Bush boys and the Veal boys.
Oh, wow.
She did that from the time they needed a sitter until they didn't need a sitter.
Good money for the island. Yeah.
I'm sure.
Let's see, what was I trying to think?
Did you know many people on North Beach, or?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, it was kind of different over here because people on this side of the island didn't necessarily mix with the people on the north side.
Well, we were gone to Arizona quite a few years.
Uh-huh.
We bought that place a long time ago.
Where did you go in Arizona?
Phoenix.
Phoenix.
Marvin Ellis visited us there, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
He had a friend or sister in Phoenix.
Oh. Who did? Oh, my dad? Yes, Millie, I think Millie was in Phoenix for a while.
I don't know who it was, but he visited her
Yeah,
quite a bit.
it was Annie Millie. I remember that now.
Oh.
So, Dad, still goes down there. He even went down this year. When did you quit going down?
I quit going down when Gordon died.
Oh, okay.
Had you been down the year before that?
Yes,
Okay.
we had been down there. He never got incapacitated, neither did I.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I was very... Tina, what year did you go to school there?
Well, I graduated in 1975.
What
So,
year?
and I was in 9th grade when we moved to Anacortes, or to Guemes.
Oh,
Oh,
Okay. So, do you have any special memories of the island? Something that makes you smile when you think about it?
What kind of berries do I have, Tina?
The blackberries back there?
No, I have special feelings about the blackberries.
Are they good feelings or bad feelings?
Gordon would put us in the middle of them
And make us pull them by hand.
in the bucket tractor.
Mom, your good memory about Coe Christmas. What about Coe Christmas?
Oh, Bubble, we had Bubble and Erminelle here, and you can imagine what that was like. She sprayed all the dishes with the Lysol.
oh,
But when we used to have Coe Christmas in the summertime, when you guys started going to Arizona,
Yes.
and we'd put a little Christmas tree out here on the deck in July, and we'd have presents and play Christmas carols.
Yes.
That was always a good memory here. Christmas in July.
I do remember wondering what the hell a Christmas tree was doing in July. Now I know.
That was what we were doing.
Dad and Mom got to the point where they didn't want to come home at Christmas time and fight the Christmas airline traffic. So Mom wanted to always have Christmas with her grandkids and great-grandkids, so we'd have Coe Christmas in July. So that she could go.
You used to go to
Yeah.
resorts too.
Yeah, we used to sometimes go somewhere else besides here. Or we did it at my house one year, and I hung big, huge Christmas balls from my big maple tree that's out front. We had Christmas out front at my house. Remember that, Ma?
Yes, I do remember that.
Well, thanks for sharing some of your memories.
Yeah, thank you.
People will be happy to see this. And we're happy that you could do it.
Forever and posterity. Posterity.
And prosperity too.
I wish you prosperity in
Posterity.
in posterity.
Okay.
Okay.
Because I don't use my walker very often, I end up with my head split open. We were telling them that Longstreet, Dr. Longstreet.
Do you recognize that name?
Yes.
Well, I've been,
Yeah.
but I've also been reading a lot about the Civil War, and that's a general to me.
Well, we were telling Tom and Carol one time Mom fell and she had to go have 4 stitches in her head, and we walk in there and there's this doctor in the Skagit Valley Hospital ER, and he looks like he's 16 years old, and he's the one that put Mom's staples in her head, and his name was Dr. Longstreet, and when he found out Mom was from Guemes, he said, well, I'm from Guemes. My parents,
Longstreet's
That
out
was
there, yeah.
Longstreet's good in the valley.
Sarah,
yeah.
I
Yeah.
remember Sarah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
he said
daughter.
my mom and dad were the old hippies on Guemes. That's
Yeah.
what he told us.
Yeah. Yeah, he had a big beard and was just hippie as heck.
Well, this guy was so nice to Mom, and he just had the connection because of the Guemes connection, you know. And he was so good with Mom, and but I told Mom,
He
don't.
was up in Bellingham too.
Yeah, he worked in my ER part-time and in
Oh.
the Skagit Valley Hospital part-time.
Oh,
But we just liked him because he was from Guemes.
yes,
But I told Mom, don't fall again just so we can go see him again.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
Yeah. So yeah, we're starting to get things cleaned out, and it's kind of bittersweet. I told Mom, but she just doesn't want to worry about 2 places anymore.
no. Well, we've been cleaning out too. We had a flood, and there's 6 inches of water in our basement. Now, we've never had water there.
Did your water tank burst or
Nope.
something?
No, it's the groundwater.
It was just that wet.
It was so wet with all the rain.
Wow. Yeah, it was a
So-
wet winter.
Yeah, so they cut up 2 feet, and they had to replace the insulation
Wow.
and also the wallboard. So the guys are doing that, and I had already scheduled a kitchen renovation. And
Good for you.
3
Shit.
weeks without
No.
things
At
done.
80 years old, I don't need a new kitchen.
Yeah, but Nancy does.
Yeah.
Yes,
Shit.
thank you.
Oh, I'm all about getting what women can get. Right, Ma?
I guess so.
Hey, when you have a new kitchen, so you feel like making things in it then.
Oh, no, I make things in it now without being new.
But they've got clippers, and they've got tile, they've got the tile cutter, and they haven't quite finished because we ran out of tile. So every night I have to make sure all the cupboards are all cleared
yeah.
off, you know, but I'm still cooking, and where is that? You
It's
know?
hard though to do a kitchen redo because you use your kitchen every day.
Oh yes, breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yeah.
A lot of
did
paper
ours.
plates.
Yeah, Diane stripped all of these cabinets. These used to be the typical knotty pine colored cabinets the whole time I was growing up here. And Diane sanded them all down, and I love the way they look.
Yes.
They almost look like maple.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
do.
very nice.
Nice looking.
And just so you know, when we all moved out of the house, this was another bedroom here, and there was a little tiny kitchen. And this was my bedroom. So,
Oh, my.
you know, they were waiting for me to get out of here so they could make a bigger kitchen.
And she did leave as soon as she graduated from high school.
Yeah, well, I was always working at hospitals, so, and you couldn't do shift work, you know, living on Guemes.
Yeah, that's right.
That was in the days that Monday through Thursday, the last ferry was 6:30.
I remember that.
And the
Oh,
last
yes.
ferry on Friday and Saturday night was midnight.
Yeah.
And that's when we still had the drawbridge. And I knew in high school, I knew exactly how long it took to get from the movie theater in Mount Vernon to the Guemes Ferry, and I'd time it just right. But if the bridge went up, I would miss the ferry.
Oh,
But I do know many times Al Bassetich, who is my favorite. He was like my second dad, kind of. And Ray Zaparovich and Bob Leatherwood, remember?
Yep.
They'd see me tearing down the hill to catch that last ferry, and they'd be already
Oh,
out a little bit, and they'd back up
you
for me.
bet they would.
Yeah.
I
Well,
always
look at
did
Anne
that.
McCracken. How many years
Yeah.
teaching English
Mm-hmm.
did she go down for the morning run?
She
And
was
they'd back
always
up.
late. We'd always
always
back
late?
up together. She was always late.
Oh, she couldn't be. She was a teacher. She was a dang good teacher,
Yes,
too.
she was. She
Yeah, I
and
had her.
Thelma.
I had her.
Yeah, but she was always late to get to the ferry, and she was only at school on time because of the crew.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that,
back
that
up.
was the old days when those old nice guys would back up for you. They wouldn't do that now.
Oh, they'll
Well,
shut
they-
the bridge down and you're there, and
Yeah.
they're sitting there waiting for the time to go off.
Yeah. And Al, he would, well, all of Bob and Ray and Al, and Mick, remember Mick?
Yeah, Mickey
Yeah.
Allen.
They would all, it was the old Almar, and the only heated place, remember, was there where
Little
they
cabin.
piloted. So on the cold nights when I'd make that last ferry, they'd let me come up and be by the heater, which
Yeah.
they can't do nowadays
Yeah.
either.
No.
Gina had Al as a
Yeah.
patient.
Al passed away in my hospital,
Mm.
Oh,
and
really?
it broke my heart because he
Yeah.
had.
He wouldn't go there until his wife was in the Anacortes Hospital.
Yeah, both of them. She was in Island Hospital, and he came up to have neck surgery at my hospital because we had neurosurgeons up there. And he rolled out of surgery, and I was right there. He was right across from my nurse's station. And he rolled in, and he did really well after surgery. But then later in the evening, he started having belly pain, and we knew he had a history of an aortic aneurysm. So we actually called the code blue on him and got him sent to ICU. And they did surgery to repair the aneurysm, but he didn't. He made it for a little while. I just cried. I just
Oh,
cried because
yes.
Al was my absolute favorite.
Yeah, he was a good guy.
So he was always, the captain of the ship.
He was.
Oh, Al
And-
has a story to tell about Ray. Do you remember
Ray.
the hat?
Ray Zaporovich's captain's hat.
Yes. And Al went up and he knocked it over.
Oh. No, I don't. Okay, go. You
Did
go
Ray
ahead.
get after you?
You go ahead and tell it.
Well, I don't remember. I wasn't there when it happened.
Well,
but
There was certain rules when you went into the the deck was upstairs. Well, the waiting room was upstairs. Now, how does handicap fit into
Yeah.
today? And you had to have the elevator to get up there.
Right.
Well, okay, well, there's no elevator. Well, so I'd go up there, and they'd say, "Come on." I'd go into and I knew he didn't like whistling because that was a sin for the fishermen and all.
Oh, I didn't
you
know
don't
that.
whistle. So I started whistling, and oh, jeez, did he go right through the roof. And so then, I don't know, something about, he got kind of lippy with me, and I went like this, and I accidentally hit his hat and knocked his hat off. Oh, you don't do that. You don't ever knock a skipper's cap off.
No. Did you get booted off the boat?
No, I didn't. But I
They
sure
let
got
you
told.
out.
I sure got told.
Oh,
Those guys were the neatest guys.
they were.
And they were so glad to have that job.
Yeah.
Because they got out of they didn't go north fishing,
Right.
and they were
They got
of
to
the
go home
age
to their families.
they got to go home to their families, and they just loved that job, and they loved the people.
Yeah. Did
But-
you know that Al played instruments?
No, I didn't know
Al
that.
played the trumpet or something. He was very musical, which
Oh.
I never knew. But we
Oh.
went to his funeral, and I talked to Nick, his son,
Yeah.
who I think is the one that's the attorney in Seattle. And he found out all sorts of things about Al I didn't know. He was very musical, he loved to sing, and he was always so dignified and quiet as a captain on the Almar.
He never rocked any boats or
Yeah,
anything.
yeah.
But Dad knew him before he was a skipper, and he did work for what was it? Mayor.
Oh,
Jack Mayer in town.
Oh, yeah.
I guess he drove trucks or did something.
Oh, okay.
Al was a very, very competent,
Yes.
capable guy. He could do anything
I know.
and had a nice disposition and everything. He was the nicest guy.
He was.
What about his son?
I never knew his son.
He had 3 sons, and
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
one of them passed away a couple years ago. And I think the one that's the attorney lives in Seattle, and I don't know about the other one. But I think they were fishermen at one point.
What was his His Phyllis's age.
It was Tony, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, there's
Yeah,
Tony and Nick, and I can't remember the other one's
Is
name.
it Donald or?
Yeah, maybe Don.
Yeah,
Because
Donnie
I think
died.
I just cut his. Well, see, for Historical Society, I always go through the papers, and I think this year
Yeah, one of them
Don
passed away.
Yeah.
Passed away.
Yeah, that's right. Because I remember.
I showed
remember
it
you
to
came
you.
up with that,
He
and
was
I saw
pretty
the
young.
article. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Aloe has told me that I was the daughter he never had. Which it just brings tears to my eyes when I think about him because he passed away in my hospital. And
Yeah.
I just remember talking to him right when he got into his room after surgery, and he was telling me, typical Al, Tina, I had this surgery because I don't want to be a burden to my family, and I was starting to lose strength in my arms and legs because he had a pinched disc in his neck. And I said, Al, you would never be a burden to anybody.
No, I know.
He's just a
Yeah.
grand old guy.
And they're all gone.
Well, you did that for me.
Yeah. Well, we try and take care of you, Mom. If you just use your walker and read your note there.
Do you know what the word "do as you're told"? That's what you used to tell
Yes.
the girls.
Yeah, at least she'd try and tell us that. Yeah. I was the angel one. Al, I was the angel child.
Yeah.
Right, Mom?
Right.
Yeah.
She'd never say less now.
Well, I told Mom, I said, truly the worst thing I remember doing in high school is Dad had that blue station wagon, and I'd loaded up with girls in Anacortes, high school girls, my friends, and the worst thing I ever did was take that car to Mount Vernon when Dad had told me to stay in town. And when somehow my dad found out about it, and when I got home, he was going to take my license away for a month, and I was grounded for a month, I said, that's the worst thing I've ever done. Look at what Diane's done.
Careful what you say, because I'm recording this.
You need to edit that out. I'm in enough trouble. No, we all have our things,
I remember Mick Allen because we used to go to the Elks Club all the time with them. And that,
Mick and Annette.
yeah. And he would dance all the time, I remember that. And who was the one that had the 2 boys? The captain.
Was that Bob Leatherwood?
No,
I don't know how many kids
no,
he
there was
had.
another one because the boys went out to my school, I remember.
Bob was such a nice man too. I
Yeah.
liked
He
him.
was, and I have some books that belonged to his wife.
Well, and
She
out
taught.
where I live on Samish Island, there's a road that takes off to the right when I'm heading towards Samish Island that's called Leatherwood Lane or something like that. And I'm
Oh.
wondering if at one point,
I think they lived in Anacortes a long
did they?
time.
Well, I'm thinking maybe it was his folks that homesteaded because remember Maribon's folks homesteaded out right near there too.
Mm-hmm.
So I was wondering, Leatherwood's such a different name. I
Yeah,
wondered
it
if it was always named
Yeah.
after him or his family.
Funny you talk about Mick and Annette because, by the time I left, he divorced Betty. But when I lived here in Island, Mom and Betty were best friends.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
And Pam Allen, her oldest girl, was my age, a little younger, 1 year younger, and we were best friends. We always. That's why I remind me we'd go over to Mount Vernon to the
Yeah,
the
Lincoln Theater.
Lincoln Theater,
Yeah.
and then we would have to wait for whatever boy picked my sister up to bring her back because we couldn't come back to the island without her. So We'd sit on the curb and wait for him to bring her back. Dad never found out about that.
Yeah. My dad probably didn't find out about everything that we four girls
Well, yeah,
did either.
but he knew.
I'm sure he probably did.
You run all the car out of gas, and we knew you couldn't
Well,
do
we
it.
knew you had a gas tank back here at one time. Remember the big old barrel that Dad would fill with gas to, put in his tractors and stuff? That was my allotment. I got 1 tank of gas a month.
Oh, really?
Well, that you can't drag the gut on that.
No.
But really, I think your mom and Alice and Jane Veal, I just always look at them as being the matriarchs of Guemes because they were just the steadfast, strong
right.
women. And I remember your dad, he used to scare the crap out of me. And he had those donkeys up from the cabin.
Yeah.
You remember? And
Yeah.
you'd hear those donkeys braying?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Well, there was one donkey and then one pony that they bought
Oh.
to keep GG company.
Oh, Gigi, that's right. Gigi the donkey. I remember the name.
So you could hear it pee on, and
Yep.
that was one test that I had to pass before I could marry Al.
You had to like Gigi?
No, I had to ride
She had to
Gigi.
ride.
Oh, holy cow, ride a donkey?
Yes.
I got a picture of her on.
That's what you had to do to get into
Oh,
the
and
bush
she,
families.
and she had to do one other thing. We were down at the farm, or no, she went to do chores with me. This is before we were married, and so I thought, oh, this will be a good test for her. So I had a hay sled. It was a rock sled, is what I used it for, and it was just a bunch of boards stacked together, and I had a good rope on it, and so I stacked the sled up with hay. And I said, okay, and I gave Nance a knife, and I said, now I'm going to drive out through the cows, and you're to peel this off. And so I didn't go very fast. I was going a little slow because I was going to see what happened. Well, the cows she wasn't throwing it out fast enough. The cows were taking the bales off.
Eating right out from underneath her.
She was sitting on there.
Oh, right out from underneath her?
Right out from underneath her.
Oh
She was,
my
oh my
gosh.
God, oh my God.
Oh my God.
So I had to go back and,
They didn't want to wait.
no, they didn't want to wait.
See,
It's too slow.
there's all these Guemes stories, Mom.
Yeah, I know, and I didn't get to take part in them.
Well, you took part in Coe Christmas at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember Dad, before Tom started haying these fields, Dad's haying crew was his 4 girls.
Yeah.
And holy cow, it was hard work, but I used to love it because you got hot and sweaty, but there's something about getting the hay in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
You know?
could see
Yeah.
what you're doing.
And the smell I love the smell of fresh
do
cut
too.
hay. Still
Yeah.
like it.
Did you guys swim in the pond back behind?
Well, I didn't because it's kind of mucky.
Diane did.
Diane did, and I think my kids did.
Ken did.
My
yeah,
kids
Ken
did.
and Amanda.
Yeah. Yeah. When it was high, it was a nice pond to swim in. When the water was high, but when it got low, it was too mucky for me. But my kids swam back there. They probably still swim back there now. It'd be
Yeah.
my grandkids out there now. Because my grandson loves pollywog hunting. So if there's pollywogs out there, he'd be out there naked with his net. Getting pollywogs.
How old is he?
He's 5 already.
Oh my.
Or no, Bear is 7 and my
7.
granddaughter is 5.
Oh,
Here we have one granddaughter, she's 9.
Yeah,
We got a pond down there that's got lots of pollywogs in it.
oh well, I'll bring Bear. He'll shed his clothes and now he's into snorkeling too.
Pretty,
So
pretty good sized pond. It's 20 feet deep and it's probably 60 feet
is it in
L-shaped.
back of your place by where you're?
No, we built it right in the corner.
Oh, and you don't have Gigi anymore.
No,
No,
long gone.
no Goldie. That was the pony.
Amy said, "Do you get hydrophobia when a donkey bites you?" I said, "Why?
Did
Why do you ask?"
Did she get bit one time? Because he
She-
would nip a little bit.
I'm sure she did.
Mike would have loved that donkey because he wants a mule.
Ruth, Were these ponds on the place when you bought the place, or did you guys build them?
We built that one back there.
This one was there,
Okay.
but Dad dug out the back one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Does
And
this one ever dry up? The one that's up here.
You know, I don't know because I'm not out here that much in the summertime, but I know the quaking. I think they're quaking aspens. The trees that are shaking out there. Those are from our old place in Ferndale. Dad liked them so much that we dug a bunch of starts up from our place in Ferndale and brought them here, and now look how big they are. But
Wow.
we all like the shaking leaves of those. I think they're called quaking
I
aspens.
don't think that pond dries up.
I don't think it does either.
So it got
I think
water.
there's always some water in
Yeah.
there.
Dad's pond, you know, for the cows dries up almost every year.
This pond, no,
No,
no, the
Mom
pond,
and Dad's.
yeah,
at
on their
home.
place, but
Yeah.
not down here. That's
That's
got
always
water.
been there.
Yeah,
No, but the one he built
yeah.
will dry up.
It does dry up. I'll be honest. And the geese still come in
Yes.
I
They-
saw him there
they-
last night.
there. Those geese come in and they just come. I'm standing in the kitchen window talking on the phone, and geez, they're coming right at me. The first time I saw this, I said, "Oh, I got a duck. Excuse me. What are you ducking for? What are you ducking for? What's happening?" I said, "Well, the geese are coming." And then just at the last minute, they raised up to go over the house, and then they low back down again. They come in so low,
Yeah.
you can see every feather on them.
That's
Yeah.
new. They didn't used to do that.
Do you always have geese there?
Well, we didn't always have them, but we had a geese there. We must have had 250 geese in our field every day. And
Betty Crooks.
Betty Crooks, God bless her. She come down. She called up and she found out we had geese coming in the field. She said, "Al, can I come down and see the geese?" And I said, "Sure, come on down, Betty." So I'm waiting there for her, and she comes halfway down the driveway and she starts across the yard there to go see the geese. I said, "Betty, no, don't do that." "Oh," I said, "what are you doing?" She kept going. She says, "Oh, I want to make them fly and get some pictures."
And they
They
never
never came back.
Oh no!
They never came back.
Because you know we live on Samish Island now, and you go through those Skagit Flats, and that's a birder's paradise. You see snow geese.
Yeah.
I saw a snowy owl one time. The white
Oh,
owls.
no kidding.
And
That's
it's
cool.
just, and we have eagles sitting in the trees right in front of our place, and our view is of Guemes Island. So I still have my connection to Guemes.
So I can stand up there and wave at
Yeah,
them?
you can if you climb that mountain. What's the mountain on Guemes called again?
Mount
Guemes
Guemes.
Mountain.
Oh, well, if you crawl up there, you could wave at me.
Okay. We were up there a few weeks ago with the Spanish people.
That's a good hike.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
just missed the people.
Oh, they were so cool.
Yeah.
I can actually see the 4th of July
Parade.
things that they
Fireworks?
must have somebody on that end of the island that really puts on a good show, private show of fireworks.
Used to be
Oh.
at
And
Ashback.
we go down on our beach so we can see Guemes, and it's a fabulous show. We watch the fireworks from Guemes, Anacortes, La Conner. And sometimes we can even see a little bit of Bellingham's.
Yeah, we can see Bellingham from North Beach.
Well, we hope that they don't do it again.
We
Well-
don't stay up that late.
Well, I'm getting so I don't either anymore, and I'm usually working.
So what happens is we're out 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning chasing cattle.
Oh yes, the animals go crazy.
Just go nuts.
Yeah.
And that's I've tried for probably the last 5 years and put a real effort into doing something about it.
Yeah,
I get no help from
They're
the county
starting to
at
get
all.
rid of fireworks. In Bellingham, I think they don't do it. The Hagens puts it on, but it's all regulated, and they put on a beautiful show.
Well, that's the same thing over in Anacortes.
Yeah, Anacortes does a nice show,
Yeah,
and I can see it all from my beach. I don't even have to fight the crowds.
yeah, that's neat.
That's great.
Yeah, and I have a beach. I can remember going to North Beach with a couple of my high school girlfriends, and we'd put our rubber boots on and we'd dig forever for clams on North Beach, and we'd get maybe 4 or 5. And we thought we were pretty cool because we'd get that many. But I go down on my beach on Samish and nobody ever goes down there, and we can get 40 steamers in
Oh, really?
15, 20 minutes.
Oh, wow.
And you can feel them with your feet. We go barefoot. My grandson and my husband go barefoot, and they walk through the flats when the tide's out, and they can feel the steamers, and we can get 40 steamers in about 20 minutes.
Wow.
Not like the North Beach where it's been,
No.
you know, harvested for all these years.
Yeah.
Well,
and
there's
you
still,
see-
you can get them down there.
Can ya? Good.
Yeah, oh yeah. they
That's
go
good.
right.
The part that bothers me is the people that take buckets on the ferry
Oh,
and then probably don't, really eat them.
oh, that's
They
a
just
shame.
take them home for the sport. That's the part.
Yeah.
That's a shame because we eat everything we take. And we do it legally. We get our license too because you can get 40 clams per person.
Yeah.
40 steamers on Samish anyway. I don't know how it is anywhere else, but. Are you getting tired, Ma?
No,
Okay.
Ruth, do you remember who dug the pond on the back of the property?
I don't remember who did.
Dad didn't dig it?
No.
Oh, I thought Dad dug it.
Did George Wilson do stuff like that?
Yeah.
Oh,
I wonder if it was him.
he had the gravel yard, didn't
Yes.
he? I'll bet you it was him, wasn't it, Mom?
It could
You
have
think?
been.
There could have been
I
Mac
don't
Loud
know.
too.
Maybe.
Mac
I just
Loud did
remember
that.
Wilson,
Okay.
that name.
Yeah.
I was just trying to figure out who might have done it, so we had a record of it.
Well, Bill Beesner dug ours.
He did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have an original picture of this house when my mom and dad bought it?
I don't think so.
You know, I'll dig one out because I know there's one out there, and the whole front yard was all garden. It was flower gardens, raspberries. It was her flower garden and vegetable garden, and it had rows and rows of raspberries. The whole front yard was her garden.
That'd be
Who
cool.
owned it?
Keith.
Yeah, was it Keith's mom? Was that their
Yes.
name?
Yeah.
You know, they babysat one night, my sister and I, and I think we were in that
They
bedroom.
babysat for us too.
And I just remember being scared to death because that's Mom and Dad never went anywhere without us.
Yeah.
And I was like, my sister and I were in bed crying.
Oh, my.
Oh,
And
that's
she
funny.
came in and tucked us in, and
She was a nice lady, wasn't she, Mom?
she
Yes.
was really nice.
She was very
Well, he was a great guy too. I can't remember his name.
Oh,
Do you remember his name, Mom?
No, I don't. And his grandson came here a year later, or a year ago,
Oh,
and
really?
she took pictures of Guemes Island
And
and
probably this place.
yes,
Yeah?
of this place.
I was trying to
Did,
remember.
She
did
said
Nelson's rent this before you moved
Yes.
here? That's what I thought.
Jim and Joanne
Jim and
Nelson.
Joanne
Oh,
Nelson.
okay. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
I'm trying to remember the Keith's name.
You know who that is, Mom? That's your pharmacy calling.
Keith.
Yeah.
I can't think of his last name. I was lucky. I remember the Keith. But
Yeah, I should know that. Because Mom and Dad,
She
Spent a long
baked
time with
bread the day that we came, and she had a bunch of bakery out here.
Holy cow! I just remember that fabulous garden out front. That was just something else. Because I think at the time maybe the septic lines went out there, so everything was green and
oh,
plentiful and. I don't know if that's true, but that garden was just. I'll have to get a picture of that.
Yeah, we'd
the
love to have
original
anything.
place. Yeah, I know there is one because I remember those gardens in the picture. Don't we have one? Probably in one
I
of your
don't know.
books.
I don't know.
As we're going through all this stuff, we'll look for that.
it seems like her name started with the R, like Rita or
Reva?
something.
Was it Reva?
No.
Not Reba. It was an unusual name. Her name. I think it started with the R though. But yeah, Mom and Dad spent a lot of time here, visiting them.
Do you know that when Dad first started dragging us out here from Fairchild in Spokane, outside Spokane, of course we thought it took forever to get here. But Jane and Bill Veal still lived at their old place, their old farm, and Grandma Veal lived across the street.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's where I fell in love with Pitiful Pearl, remember?
Yeah.
Jane had this antique doll named Pitiful Pearl. And I love that doll. And she would let me play with it every time we came over here. And then one year, finally, she gave it to me.
Oh.
Wow.
And I just love that doll. Pitiful
I
Pearl.
don't know what happened to that.
I'd have to dig around, but I bet you I could find it, maybe. But she could have gotten lost in one of when Dad got transferred, because Dad wouldn't let us take much when he got transferred from base to base.
Yeah.
But I love that doll, and I just love Jane for giving her to me. You know, it was just, because
I
I knew
think-
how special it was to her, because she didn't give it to me for years and years and years.
You know, for a long time I took Jane over every Friday to get her haircut or sometimes just rollers and fix stuff. She told me about Pitiful Pearl and given
Yeah.
that you got her. I
Well,
remember
and,
that.
I think it was a couple years before Jane moved off the island, and she had lost a lot of her sight, and they had a caregiver helping her at the beach place. And Mom and Dad and I and my husband, I'd always wanted my husband to meet Jane, because he'd always heard so much about her and Pitiful Pearl. And we went down there, and I hadn't seen Jane forever, since
Yeah.
I probably graduated from high school. And I walked in there, and she probably couldn't see me too well, but I went up to her and told her who I was, and she said, "Oh, Tina, you were always the nicest girl." And I said, "So were you, for giving me Pitiful Pearl." And she smiled, because I knew she'd remember that. And we had a nice little chat, and I was really glad we stopped to see her, because
Yeah.
it was a couple of years later that she passed away. So
She was failing when, I mean, she was going blind.
yeah,
I would have to help her a lot with
yeah.
going places. I'd always have her hold my
Yeah.
arm, because she was going blind, and of course she couldn't hear very well.
Yeah.
That happens. I haven't
To the best of us.
experienced that yet.
And I used to babysit, Janice and Glenn would have me babysit Adam and Eric when they were just toddlers.
Well, you used to babysit Alan and I
Yes,
too.
yeah.
So tell us about those kids.
Oh God, I
Were
love-
they good kids?
You know what? They really were easy. Well, they weren't easy to babysit, but they were fun to babysit because they were goers. But they had that blonde curly hair, and they were just the cutest kids. They were cute. Your kids were always well mannered. Very, very
They
well.
better be.
Yeah.
They better be.
But boy, to see those kids now with kids of their own. Like Adam, I saw Adam one day on the ferry when I was coming over here, and I probably wouldn't have recognized him, but he remembered me. And I was so glad, because then we caught up a little bit, and I guess he has 3 little boys now.
And they all look like, well, 2 of them look like him. The twins are fraternal, so they're not identical. But one looks more like Adam, and one looks a little more like.
And they live in Janice and Glenn's old place, right?
Right.
And I can remember that's where I used to babysit them, and I loved that house. And I still love that house. If I ever moved back to Guemes, I would want to live in that house. It just, just
Had a lot of
love
character.
and
Has a lot of
yeah, yeah. And I think we drove back there I think after the twins were born. Adam kept telling me, come by, and I wanted my husband to see it, because I used to babysit there, and I just love that place. I love the setting, I love the house, and they weren't home. But Mike said, yeah, now I see why you like this place. So,
Oh, I remember her name. Rhea Keith.
yeah.
I don't remember her husband's name, but it was Rhea Keith.
So she must have been Scandinavian, because that's Norwegian name.
Or Dutch, because I have a sister-in-law whose mom's name is Rhea,
Oh, really?
and she's Dutch.
Oh.
Yeah. Remember this, Mom? Yeah, her name's Rhea. You
They
don't
were
hear that
such
name
the
very
nicest people. They were just
Yeah,
gonna.
I could tell by the picture, because the picture we have of the farm, it must have been when Mom and Dad were thinking of buying the place or when they were getting ready to move out. But there's a picture of Mr. and Mrs. Keith out front, and it must have been taken from the road or where the fence is there, and they just look like the most special couple, and then their beautiful garden there.
Wow.
So I will get you a picture of that. We'll try and dig through your albums and see if we can find it, Mom. You don't remember that picture?
Now, do you
Oh,
remember
I'll have to
who
look.
first owned this?
Let's say again.
Who first owned this piece of property? It was long, many years ago.
Oh, that's a long time back.
Well, this is a property that Goat Nelson was on.
Goat Nelson?
Yes.
Were they related to Jim Nelson, who Jim and Joanne that used
I
to rent it?
don't
I do
think
not
so.
know.
No.
I think he had a cabin towards the back of the property, from what I heard. But I'm
Goat?
trying.
Goat as in Billy Goat?
Yeah, he raised goats. Everybody had a nickname.
And then
Oh yeah.
Blackberry.
Loganberry
no,
John.
Loganberry John.
He had a place back of our place.
yes.
Yeah, Dad had some nicknames for some of the hippies on the island, but I won't tell you what they were. But I do know one. Remember Ski Wooten?
Oh
Yes.
yes.
Remember him?
Ski. Yes.
Ski, that probably wasn't his real name, but I remember he used to,
Ski Six, I think.
when I'd come home at midnight with Al bringing me home, Al Balsatich, Ski would be coming home too at midnight, a little bit tipsy.
Oh,
But
yes.
he never, I don't think he ever knew my real name. He always called me Kitten. I never heard him call me anything but Kitten.
Well, you know, I have a scar from here to here where I fell when we were living in the little place, the 40-acre place. I fell on a glass jug behind the outhouse. And Mom didn't have a car, so she was carrying me down the ferry dock.
Oh my gosh.
And they were putting, or maybe it was the time they were changing electricity instead of private, you know.
Oh,
It
okay.
was, so there was guys there who were working the lines, and
Oh.
they heard Mom screaming for help, and they picked us up, took us down the ferry dock, and Skizik took me to the hospital.
Oh.
My sister was,
That was his real name, Skizik? Skizik?
I think that's Skizik.
Yeah, Skeezy Wooten.
Yeah.
I always
Wasn't
liked
that
him.
a cartoon in the newspaper?
There was a Skeezy, but I don't know if it was
I
him.
was
We
wondering
call him
maybe that
Ski,
nickname
but
came
they
We
was
called him
Skizik.
Ski. Yeah.
This is also the Sherman place. Earl Sherman.
Oh, that's who I was trying to think of. This Shermans live here?
You recognize
Yes.
that name at all, Mom? That was before you guys
Yeah. that
were
was
in touch with Peace and
That's when,
That they were related to
oh, that kid Amy used to date?
kid that Tammy used to date.
Sherman? Well, it was Amy that dated Rick Sherman. You're confusing daughters, Mom. Daughters and dates. My poor
Oh, wow.
dad. My poor dad had 4 girls. I feel sorry for him.
Well, Earl would have been about 90 now because Iris Forrester married Earl Sherman, and she's 96.
you know, she's really,
Oh.
she's got cancer now.
Oh, is that right?
Iris, yeah.
Oh, that's.
So she probably won't be coming back to the island.
Oh, shoot. That's
Luckily,
sad.
we do have some film of her
Sad.
Did
video.
you get some good stories from Jane before she passed away?
I didn't, but someone did, I think.
Okay.
I can't remember because we all were making recordings,
Yes.
not videos.
I know.
She was driving up a hill, up our hill there, and I don't know how she made it, but she came up that hill, and everybody comes out of the hill because it's a pretty steep hill, and they give it a lot of gas,
Yeah.
and they go like hell going up that hill.
Spin the
Oh.
gravel there.
Oh man.
We used to do that too when we
Yeah.
would go down the cabin out.
Yeah. Anyway, she comes up the hill, and of course it's in the morning, and the sun's coming bearing down the main right down the road there. It's that time of year, and she gets up that hill. She can't see. Well, so she opens the car door, to see where the center line is. And she gets, of course, you know, when you lean one way, you kind of steer that way.
Yeah.
But she comes over there, she wipes out my mailbox, and then she goes up the road about halfway to the corner there, and then she goes in the ditch on that side. And why she didn't turn that car completely over, because that's really a deep ditch.
Yeah, that is.
And how they got her out of that car, I don't know, because the door is almost facing straight up.
Oh my
The car's
God.
on its side.
Well, speaking of cars, you know, we all four of us girls learned how to drive in the back fields here. Tom probably wouldn't appreciate that because the hay was so good and we'd batter the hay down. But that old dump truck that sits in the back, Tom usually, I mean, it still runs, believe it or not. That's what we learned to drive in,
Yeah.
that old dump truck. So we all knew how to stick shift right away. And then we also learned in Sylvia Ashback's orange V-Dub. She'd take that little orange V-Dub out in our fields when everybody was gone with Diane. And they'd tear around the field in her orange V-Dub.
All those things that kids don't do now because
Yeah.
they're sitting there with
I
their
know, I hate that. They don't.
phones
I
and
hate it
everything.
I only carry a cell phone because I come home from work late on I-5. I hate those things. I don't even have a computer at home. I don't have a TV at home. My husband and I,
You're really hippie.
yeah, we're really hippie.
Well, you're
No.
kind of out of a touch, aren't you?
Well, we do have a TV, but we don't have it connected to anything, so we get a disc from Netflix once a week.
Oh yeah.
But Mom calls my husband the frustrated farmer because Mike should have been born on a dairy farm. He was the one who tried to teach me how to milk a cow by hand. He can still do it.
I can do it.
Can you?
Oh yeah, I used to have to milk my own
Oh
cow
my
every
gosh.
morning.
I think I probably gave the cow mastitis because I didn't squeeze it right, and I think it went back up.
I was trying to tell someone about that. You have to close
Yes.
off the spigot first,
Yes.
and then squeeze out the milk. Otherwise, it goes back up.
Yeah.
But you got to push up first, then squeeze, and
Yeah.
then pull down.
Well, I'm not that coordinated, so.
I was telling Carol Harmer because our summer camp,
Oh, yes.
science camp, is going to be about farming.
Oh,
Yeah,
great.
Yeah,
called him about
Jesus.
cows.
She's calling me. I don't know what I'm going to tell her.
They
Let
they
me
came
know
in
when that is. I'll bring my
and visited
grandkids over.
with us in Arizona this year.
Did they?
Yeah, they
Yeah, they
and the
would love it.
cachetas.
You need to sign up early because
When
it fills up.
When is it?
It's the week of the 4th of July, but I
Yeah.
don't know. Usually the 4th is in
I think
there.
it's
And
Bee Cachetta who you ask.
Oh,
Is
how
Bee
cool.
going to be?
Oh, you've
Well,
got to be
she's-
the featured speaker.
No,
She's
I'm
writing-
not going to be.
She does the
Come on.
he's the old bull.
The advertising for it.
Aren't you the
Yeah,
yeah, I
bull
think
of the
taking
woods?
down the
I'll
names
tell-
of the kids.
Karma, how to, what
There's
she
still
wants
some
to know.
openings, though,
That's
I know
it, I'm
that.
back out.
I know Emily always goes.
So I can't do cows. I was going to do cows, but Carol's going to do cows. So I'm doing more of the, growing farm and what else? Oh, and someone else is doing. I was going to do horsepower because I got a nice book. No, Lori Steele's bringing the horse, and so I can't do the horses. So I go, okay, I'll stick to crops, crops, and one other thing I think.
I'll tell you what you can do, Carol, is you can come down there and train one of those heifers or steers I got down there. And
Right.
I got one all picked out for you.
Wait, I do
You
know.
can start the
I am
Guemes
gonna
rodeo.
I'm
Exactly.
gonna do on working dogs too. How working dogs
Oh,
for the
yeah.
farm.
Oh,
That's
Do
cool.
you
interesting.
have any like nice either disc or something with your cows working, or did you
Oh,
ever film
no,
them?
I never filmed
No,
it.
never filmed.
I was too busy
Yeah.
Farming.
doing it, and those dogs, I can tell you a lot about them because the dogs were just a piece of my heart
I
and a
remember
piece
those
of
dogs.
me. And I had the one dog, I think she was what, 12, 13 years old when she passed away?
Crystal or
No, it was, that wasn't the first dog we had, Crystal. It was, can't remember the name now. it'll come to me. But anyway, she passed away, and so I had a connection, and through the Cattlemen's Association, I got a guy on Eastern Washington, and he got me another Australian Shepherd because they're really, really
Yeah.
good dogs.
Yeah,
And they just got savvy.
they're
And
smart.
so I got the one dog, and man, did I have a hard time. I'd read books on it and training, and I had it on a line, and it was a lot of work. And I don't like, treating animals harshly or anything like that, so I took my time. And I did a good job with this dog. And so then I thought, after I got done getting this dog where I thought it was good, I thought, I'm not going to go through this again, so we got another dog. We got
Always
And-
had two.
huh?
Always had two after that.
And I always had two. And we had an older one and a young one. And the older one taught the young one how to do it.
Good.
And it was, my training was over.
Did you train them by whistles? Different whistles?
I'd whistle, yeah.
Okay.
I'd whistle, but just to get their attention. And they'd turn and look, and then I'd point.
Oh.
And then what's he looking at? He looked back, didn't say, I said, there. And they'd, oh yeah, okay, I'll go get it.
So they herded your cattle for you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I could go in the field. If I didn't have those dogs with me,
Yeah,
I had a hell of a time
yeah.
changing, because we were always moving cattle. We'd put them in fields and then take them out. Put them in
Yeah.
another one and take them out. Because we were selling them out so that they were
They're amazing. They're
not,
amazing
they just
dogs.
didn't run over the
Mom
whole
and Dad
place.
had one too, where Dad would go, if they were out, get them in, Sissy. Every dog they've had has been named Sissy.
Oh.
Well, they could.
That's
They-
like Gordon,
they
he
would, they'd
named
bring it
them
in.
all.
But now this Sissy.
All buttons?
That's right, buttons. That's right, Mom. I forgot about that.
What was that
The-
first dog's name?
Because
Lady.
we're
Yeah,
first
Lady.
one
It
we
was
bought
Lady. And then we had
died
Crystal,
with
Well, we had
buttons.
Aussie.
Aussie.
Well, we had several litters.
Yeah.
And actually, we gave one to Win Anderson, and he was working in town, and that dog would follow him on his bike and go right with him all down the street and everything. And then we gave one, it was all white and it had blue eyes, and so it was blind, and we gave it to another
Oh, I didn't know.
cattleman, Jess
Oh
Knudsen.
yeah. Yeah.
And then the last one we had was Buff.
Buff.
Yeah.
Buff, he was,
Big ugly.
yeah.
Well, I saw a video of, one guy was on, it was like Scotland, one guy was on the hill with binoculars, and then they had radios, and those dogs, they kind of herded all the animals up into one bunch, and then they started telling them what to do little by little, and they put Christmas lights on all the sheep.
Oh, wow.
And so it would look like a sheep walking across this huge,
Oh my gosh.
the sheep's feet would move, and one big sheep out of a whole bunch of little ones
In lights.
in lights.
Wow.
Yeah.
They would
That's
actually
cool.
bunch them up in the form of a sheep.
Oh my god.
And make them move, the legs move.
That
Oh
is
my.
something, yeah.
And then we watched
Oh yeah.
pups. And they were
They're like
border
collies or
collies.
something.
And they were 6 weeks old. And they would take them out and have them herd sheep and see which ones were the naturals. And at 6 weeks old, without any commands and stuff, they could get these dogs to herd these sheep.
One little dog out of the whole bunch was amazing because he was only this big, and he was going around, and the sheep would move, and he'd drop down naturally and wait for them to calm down. And then he'd get them to go, and he was just a baby,
Yeah, very-
but he knew what to do.
Well, there's a lot of natural instinct in those dogs, and that's what in my, I don't know, I'm so glad I did it in getting the older dog and the younger dog, because that older dog, we had a rug right inside the door, say right there, because Nancy didn't want dog hair all over the house and that sort of thing.
I'm with you.
And
on that.
they'd come in and it'd be all muddy and everything. Well, they'd sit on
They'd
that
lay right
rug
there.
Well, that younger dog would get up and just start to walk around, and the older dog would just roll her lip and just kind of a little, and whoop, whoop, back on the rug she went. Never had to train her.
I'll
Oh,
never
you're looking tired. I might have to get my mommy home here, guys. I hate to.
Okay.
No.
I have to tell one story. You
Okay.
remember Linda Porter?
Oh yeah.
Well, we went off, we took the family on a family vacation, and Linda was to feed Buff. Yeah. So she put together a book. Buff is sitting on the counter, he's asleep on our bed.
Oh no.
She's pouring champagne down his throat. Oh, you're gonna party, Buff. Mom and Dad aren't home. And who was it? Was Brenda, the dentist's wife. What is it? Not Martinez, but the other doctor. Anyway, Brenda and Mo Halpin, and they were all in this picture, and they were having a good time filming Buff in all the spots that he should not have.
Did you ever let him dog sit again?
No.
Al was very disturbed. Oh, he was drinking out of the faucet and everything. It was. I have that book.
I know he showed it to me.
You showed it to the historical
Yeah.
society. That was so cute.
That was
That's funny.
funny. That sounds like Linda, my cousin Linda.
Oh yeah.
She wouldn't do anything that I wanted done. She was just contrary as that.
I'm related to her, so that's
She'd
me.
kick me in the shin if I said something wrong.
Okay, we need to all get over there so we can get you all in a bunch here.
You guys
too.
get with
No,
Mom.
you too.
But
Yes.
you know,
I'm not even cleaned up.
At,
Get over there. Everybody.
Get over there, you
at
guys.
the ceremony Monday morning, there was a butterfly flying, and Holiday was saying, "Oh, look at the butterfly," and I said to her after we watched it, I said, "That's Linda Porter." Because she
Come on,
always
Al,
said she
Nancy.
would come by.
Slide over there closer there, Al. I don't want.
Come on,
Come on, Al.
You showered
Move your chair.
once this week, didn't you?
No, I'm not gonna say.
You're gonna.
I'm gonna stand up behind all you girls.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Oh, can you get through?
Yeah, give me a right.
Okay. Make
Okay,
sure
give
you
us a good Guemes Island.
Guemes Island. Yes.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, okay.
Mom, that turned into a